The current administration rode on a wave of goodwill that they will offer a new mode of governance armed with fresh ideas to move Grenada forward. Lingering resentment with the previous administration and, in particular, its leader, Dr. Keith Mitchell's reticence to step away from leadership, took the NDC to the finish line, and it gave an ironclad 9-seat mandate to govern on behalf of all of Grenada. In the spirit of this new transformational thrust, the administration, under its erudite and youthful leader, also assures that they will have a more open and cordial relationship with the Grenadian media, especially with the tiny group of Grenadian journalists who can still lay claim to being independent and credible. During the last campaign, Prime Minister Mitchell was adamant that government ministers meet the press to articulate their policies and visions. This is what he said.
We subject ourselves to scrutiny, and we've never held public office. But those who've held public office for 38 years cannot go on the Kellon Bob show. They do not appear on the Callisto Faria show. They do not appear on Beyond the Headlines. They do not have pocket meetings and give you the mic to ask them questions. So ask yourself, when they do not wish to subject themselves to your scrutiny, to answer your questions, to meet and greet and hear from you, why are they still coming back and asking you to allow them to represent you?
In the lead up to the last elections, this program critiqued the previous government for its very biased and divisive practice of pitting some journalists against others, inviting some journalists to press conferences and not others, and holding specially curated media availabilities. While they attempted to bring clarity to issues of national importance, these media sessions devolved into softball activities that failed to ask the pertinent and tough questions uppermost in the minds of the citizenry. This, of course, left a bitter taste in the mouth of the national community. Our gripe here is less with the administration's direction than with the press secretary and communication structure at Botanical Gardens. The Prime Minister's press secretary, a position which is paid for by the taxpayers of Grenada, doesn't have the courtesy to respond to any inquiries for information put forward by the media. In the last week, the Bub Report sought to inquire about government's deliverables concerning the just concluded climate summit. Ms. Carter read our messages via WhatsApp and did not even have the courtesy of responding. Other journalists, citing a reluctance to speak publicly on this issue, have expressed a similar concern. Some note that she has not responded to their messages for months. At least the previous press secretary, Ms. Philomena Robertson, always responded to me with a definitive no in all cases, saying that former Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell did not have time for the Bub Report. But at least she responded. As one of the official spokespersons for the administration, the press secretary must weave together the interests of reporters and the Prime Minister's cabinet. The press secretary must also work with various constituents and government officials to create a portrait of government and its policies that they want to deliver publicly, which goes beyond moderating these very infrequent need-to-know press briefings that are happening these days. And while the administration's position may be one of only talking to its base via its platforms, such as the NDC Heartbeat program and the Government Information Service, they must be aware that the press, with all of its flaws, is still a feature of the democratic process in Grenada. So while you may rightly disagree with the reporting approaches of some journalists, that's not a good reason, respectfully, to engage in the practice of strategic ghosting. Madam Press Secretary, please respond to your messages.